Well folks, it wouldn't be a news cycle without a healthy dose of the utterly absurd, now would it? In the ever-entertaining world of politics, absurdity seems to be the only constant. This time it comes courtesy of former President Donald Trump, a man whose relationship with subtlety is about as strong as my relationship with vegetables, and trust me, that's saying something. That is to say, non-existent. Trump, in all his wisdom, floated the idea of, wait for it, taking over Gaza. Yes, you heard that right, folks. Yes, you heard that right. Not content with just tweeting about it, he actually suggested that the United States should just, and I'm using his words here, take over Gaza. Not content with just tweeting about it, he actually suggested that the United States should just, and I'm using his words here, take over Gaza. Imagine the audacity, the sheer boldness of such a statement. One can only assume his plan involved a healthy dose of America First banners and perhaps a renaming contest for good measure. Gaza Strip Casino, anyone? Maybe he envisioned a new Trump Tower right in the heart of Gaza. The why of this whole debacle remains shrouded in the same mystery as Trump's tax returns. Was it a stroke of foreign policy genius? Or just another one of his off-the-cuff remarks? Was it a stroke of foreign policy genius? Or perhaps another episode of ramblings of a reality TV star? The lines between reality and reality TV have never been blurrier. Or perhaps another episode of ramblings of a reality TV star? Whatever the reason, one thing's clear, it went down about as well as a lead balloon at a children's party. Whatever the reason, one thing's clear, it went down about as well as a lead balloon at a children's party. The international community was left scratching their heads, wondering if this was a serious proposal or just another headline-grabbing stunt. And the people of Gaza? Well, they had a few things to say about it too. Because as we all know, they're not exactly known for their meek compliance. They are a resilient people, with a strong sense of identity and pride. Because, as we all know, they're not exactly known for their meek compliance. The idea of an American takeover was met with a mixture of disbelief and defiance. The people of Gaza made it clear that they would not be pawns in anyone's political game. Now, let's unpack this plan of Trump's, shall we? It's a plan that has stirred up quite a bit of controversy and confusion, and for good reason. Because calling it half-baked would be an insult to bakers who actually know what they're doing. This plan is more like a recipe for disaster, and the concept of halves everywhere. It's as if the plan was thrown together without any real thought or consideration. Details were about as scarce as common sense in a Real Housewives reunion, leaving everyone scratching their heads and wondering what the actual plan was. But here's the gist. Trump proposed that the US should step in, take control of Gaza, presumably by force if necessary, and impose some sort of order. And then, well, that's where things get murky. The plan lacked any clear follow-up or strategy for what would happen next. Maybe he envisioned a benevolent dictatorship with himself as the all-knowing, all-powerful ruler of beach volleyball tournaments and tanning oil distribution. It sounds absurd, but with Trump, you never know. Or perhaps he thought it would make a great setting for the next season of The Apprentice. One can only speculate about his true intentions. What we do know is this: the proposal was met with a resounding chorus of, "Oh hell no," from pretty much everyone who's ever glanced at a map or has any understanding of the region. Or, has a basic understanding of international relations. The international community was quick to dismiss the idea as impractical and dangerous. Because, let's be honest, the last thing Gaza needs is another external power muscling in and trying to call the shots. The region is already fraught with tension and conflict. But Trump, being Trump, seemed utterly oblivious to the potential ramifications of his words. International law, respect for sovereignty, these concepts seem to elude him entirely. Those are mere trifles to a man who once suggested buying Greenland. His approach to international diplomacy often leaves the world in a state of bewilderment. Predictably, the reaction from Gaza was less than enthusiastic. In fact, outrage might be a more accurate description. Imagine someone suggesting they take over your house because they think they can rearrange the furniture better. Yeah, that's the kind of welcome Trump's proposal received. Palestinian officials were quick to denounce the idea, calling it everything from absurd to dangerous to a blatant violation of international law, and they were being polite. The streets of Gaza, no stranger to protests, erupted with demonstrations. People from all walks of life, young and old, took to the streets, waving Palestinian flags and chanting slogans against the proposed takeover. Their message was clear: Gaza will not be anyone's pawn. They fought tooth and nail for their right to self-determination, and they're not about to roll over and let some reality TV star turned politician decide their fate. Behind the political posturing and the headlines, though, lie the stories of everyday Gazans. These are the stories that rarely make it to the front pages, yet they are the heartbeat of this resilient community. Stories of resilience, of defiance, of a determination to live, love, and hope, even in the face of unimaginable adversity. These are the tales of people who refuse to let their spirits be crushed by the weight of conflict. Take, for example, Fatima, a young teacher who runs a makeshift school out of the rubble of what was once her living room. Her classroom may lack walls, but it is filled with the boundless energy and dreams of her students. Her spirit unbroken by years of conflict, she tells her students that education is their weapon, their shield, their passport to a brighter future. She believes that knowledge can light the way even in the darkest of times. Or consider Ahmed, a fisherman who braves the choppy waters of the Mediterranean each day, despite the constant threat of harassment from Israeli patrol boats. His courage is a testament to the unyielding spirit of Gaza's people. His livelihood, his family's survival, depends on the bounty of the sea, and he refuses to be cowed into submission. Every catch he brings home is a victory against the odds. These are the faces of Gaza's defiance. Faces that tell stories of strength, hope, and an unbreakable will to persevere. The ones Trump, in his infinite wisdom, seems to have overlooked. These are the people who stand tall, even when the world turns a blind eye. The ones who remind us that behind every political conflict, behind every headline, there are human beings with hopes, dreams, and the unwavering belief in their right to a future free from oppression. They are the heart and soul of Gaza, and their stories deserve to be told. Section 5. The Weight of the World, International Reactions and Concerns. Now, Trump's proposal wasn't just met with anger in Gaza. Oh no, the rest of the world had a few things to say about it too. And surprise, surprise, they weren't exactly throwing a ticker tape parade in his honor. The United Nations, usually a bastion of diplomatic language, practically choked on their collective coffee at the suggestion. Leaders from across the globe lined up to condemn the idea, with words like reckless, inflammatory, and utterly bonkers being thrown around like confetti at a bad wedding. Even America's closest allies couldn't muster much enthusiasm for the plan. It seemed everyone, apart from maybe a few particularly hawkish pigeons in Washington, recognized the sheer lunacy of the idea. Section 6. Echoes of the Past. Historical Parallels and Lessons Unlearned. But perhaps the most disheartening aspect of Trump's proposal is its blatant disregard for history. Because let's be honest, the world has seen what happens when powerful countries decide to take over places they don't understand, with motivations that are about as clear as a mud bath. From the colonial conquests of centuries past to the more recent misadventures in the Middle East, history is littered with cautionary tales of what happens when hubris trumps diplomacy. Yet here we are again, with another leader seemingly intent on repeating the mistakes of the past. It's enough to make you wonder if they teach history in schools anymore. Or maybe they just skip the chapters on why invading other countries rarely ends well. Section 7. Beyond the headlines, the human cost of conflict. But amidst all the political grandstanding and the geopolitical chess games, it's easy to lose sight of the human cost of this never-ending conflict. Because while politicians posture and pundits pontificate, it's the ordinary people of Gaza who bear the brunt of the suffering. Families torn apart by bombs, children growing up under the constant threat of violence, a generation robbed of their childhoods and their futures. These are the real casualties of this conflict. The ones whose stories don't make it onto the front pages, but whose lives are forever scarred by the trauma of war. Section 8. Seeds of Hope. Gazans' determination to rebuild and thrive. Yet even in the face of such adversity, the human spirit endures. Amidst the rubble and the ruins, seeds of hope take root and flourish. Gazans, with their trademark resilience, continue to rebuild their lives, brick by brick, dream by dream. Markets bustle with activity. Children's laughter echoes through the streets. Artists and musicians find creative outlets to express their pain and their hope. Life, as it always does, finds a way. Because the human spirit, like a phoenix from the ashes, refuses to be extinguished. Section 9. A Future Uncertain, a Call for Peace and Understanding. So, where do we go from here? The future of Gaza, like its past, remains shrouded in uncertainty. But one thing is clear: a lasting solution cannot be imposed by force, nor can it be dictated by those who view the region through the narrow lens of their own interests. What's needed is a commitment to dialogue, to understanding, to empathy. A recognition that the people of Gaza, like all people, deserve the right to live in peace, dignity, and security. Until then, their defiance will continue to be a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. And maybe, just maybe, their courage will inspire the rest of us to demand better from our leaders, to choose peace over conflict, empathy over indifference, and hope over despair, because the alternative, as history has shown us time and time again, is simply unacceptable.